everyone, it's Barb Joyan with Extreme Screenwriting. Today we're going to talk about introducing characters. It is very easy to get caught up in our concepts and forget the importance of how we introduce the hero and the supporting roles. That's what we're going to talk about today. If you click on the channel's name, Extreme Screenwriting, you will see a list of all videos. There's also another video on the channel called The Hero's Introduction that gives more in-depth information regarding the hero. How you introduce your characters is very vital in motion picture, especially for the hero. So first I want to discuss his grand entrance. I think most of you probably seen the very famous movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones movie. We're introduced to Jones while he's trying to escape booby traps from an ancient treasure. The next scene shows him in a classroom where we learn he's an archaeologist and learn a little bit more about him. Now that writer could have opened that movie easily with the scene in the classroom, but instead decided to open it with the booby trap because that is a memorable introduction. So go back and look and see what your hero is doing when you introduce him or her. You want to make them as memorable as possible and give them that grand entrance. I mean, after all, have you ever in your life seen a James Bond movie that has not had a grand entrance? And there's nobody who's been around longer than Bond. I want you to really think about this because it goes way beyond just creating an interesting character. This is about attracting A-list talent to the role. Do you think they want a boring entrance that can be upstaged by the next funny guy or the next scary guy that comes along? So you really need to go back and take a look at how you introduce that hero. And if you are giving the hero a boring entrance, well, what is that? The entrances you never want to do, they're cliche and boring, is when we see the hero waking up, like we all do a million times a day, taking a shower, everything we all do every single day, having a cup of coffee, etc. Now, if you can find a new way to make that original, go for it. But more likely than not, it's just going to be cliche and the same old thing. You don't want to do that because it's boring. You're more creative than that. So I want you to really to think about what you're doing and give that hero a grand entrance. Supporting roles don't require such a grand entrance. Remember in The Mummy, the librarian is introduced toppling over all the bookcases? Nothing more boring than a librarian, but the way she was introduced as a supporting role became memorable. The same goes with just two guys talking. Remember Pulp Fiction when they were in the car? Just two guys talking, but remember how memorable it was. So your supporting roles should have what I'll refer to as a mini grand entrance, meaning make them memorable as well. Now let's discuss something more important than even the entrances that I think about 98% of aspiring screenwriters tend to miss. And that's when you introduce your hero, that hero's internal conflict should be introduced at that time. I often find that it's introduced later in Act 1, sometimes not even till Act 2 or to the very end of the movie. That hero's internal flaw should be introduced when the hero is introduced and preferably before the external conflict is introduced. You don't have to spend a lot of time with the internal conflict. Let's take a look at the movie Night of the Museum. We're introduced to a deadbeat dad, has some issues going on before he gets to the museum where everything comes alive and tries to eat him. So that's what I'm referring to with introduce the internal, go for the big external, and then use that external to create change in the hero. Under miscellaneous items, you want to give the hero a unique name that we remember also, like Rambo, Bond. Make sure you cap the hero and other characters' names upon their initial introduction as well. Now let's talk about the supporting roles. The easiest way to do the supporting roles, very simplified, is you want to put them in direct contrast with the hero. And by that I mean, for example, if the hero's a non-committal type of person, then you want to put him with a best friend who's been married for 10 years. If the hero is a shy loner type, then make his friends or his best friend a party animal. Think of it as opposites attract. And try to introduce that opposite when we first meet the supporting role and use it throughout the movie to create conflict between the hero and the supporting roles. There's also something to be said about taking the familiar and giving it a little bit of a twist. For example, you might have an Uncle Joe as an overweight guy who loves pizza and ballet, or a mobster sidekick who cries when a certain movie comes on, or a priest who carries a knife. The goal is to make the hero and the supporting roles memorable for years to come. We all have movies where we remember that character even years later. Thank you for watching this video today, and if you are a screenwriter who is struggling in these difficult times, please check in the description below for some helpful links. If you've enjoyed this video, we sure would appreciate a like, and if you would like to see more of the content from Extreme Screenwriting, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and the bell notification next to it, and you will be informed every time we upload a new video, which right now is daily. We wish you and your family safety and good health always. Thank you for watching.